What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, one of your hosts here, Dillon Schroeder. Fresh off of a Party Chat Sports weekend get-together. We got the news. Aaron Rodgers is in town. I'm going to react to that news and really, talk about my feelings about it. And as you can see, I already got a Rodgers jersey in stock, actually. They gave it to me ahead of time, and that's all you need to know about it. Anyway, 1 year contract, $10 million guaranteed, average salary about 13. It can go up to 19. It's pretty much nothing for a quarterback in the grand scheme of things. Very cheap. Steelers had plenty of money to spend. Still have plenty of money to spend. I think it's just, a long road to get here of will they, won't they? And, he wasn't their first choice. Fields was their first choice. And, this at the point in time, on the field was the best quarterback available. I don't think there's any question or doubting that fact. Kirk Cousins isn't good anymore. Mason Rudolph is what he is. He's not Aaron Rodgers, even at 41 years old. And Will Howard's a rookie in the 6th round, regardless of how much promise he may or may not be showing. So we'll see. I think the Rodgers gives them the best chance right now in this current year. But what is that chance? The best chance of what? Making the playoffs? The best chance of getting 9 wins in a winning season? I don't know that he pushes the needle towards a Super Bowl team. Also I don't think Brady and the Bucks were necessarily a Super Bowl team before the season. I could be wrong, but, it was what is he going to do there? And I get that's more of the expectation of when he went to the Jets. That was like, what's he going to do there? But I think it's the same vibe here of can he push the team? And, that's obviously the ceiling is the Brady Buccaneers. But the floor is the Phillip Rivers Colts, who had some playoff aspirations and they fell apart late. Rivers was getting hurt. Other players were getting hurt. And it just didn't end up working out, and the Colts have still been searching for quarterback answers, even after picking Anthony Richardson top 5. So it just hasn't worked out for them. But it's a 1-year thing. We'll see what happens. There's no way he comes back for another year, and they will be trading or trading up probably and trying to pick a quarterback in next year's draft. But at this point in time, really, what else were you going to do? The Steelers backed themselves into this corner, and they had no other options. And I don't think going into the season with Mason Rudolph was ever really in the cards. I also think too they probably knew Aaron Rodgers was going to sign for many weeks now. They were just Rodgers had some stuff to deal with, just like he said, and he was gonna make that decision when he felt comfortable. But given his comments at the concert that he made about a team going to Chicago this year, and I just there had to have been some sort of connection or a handshake deal of he was going to sign, and I think the NFL knew that too when they scheduled Packers Steelers on Sunday Night Football, Jets in Week 1. I mean, they had an inkling that this was going to happen too. So I think it is what it is. I still don't think that puts this team in the best spot. I think you could argue that playing the year with Mason Rudolph or starting Will Howard all year is going to be better for this team's long-term interests, and it probably would be. But if you mortgage that for a playoff win this year, I think that makes ownership happy because that's what they've been dying to see for 10 years. I know I will be happy by the end of the year. I can say this. I can say I won't be all I want, but if the Steelers win a playoff game this year, it's going to be great, and there's no arguing that fact. So at the end of the day, we're just going to see how it plays out on the field. I think, this offense is still going to be geared around the run game. Caleb Johnson, Rodgers on the field. We can talk about that for a second. He did fine. I mean, the Jets only won 5 games last year, but it was a circus, firing a coach halfway through the year. There was a lot going on over there that was dysfunctional. I think Rodgers coming into Pittsburgh, which is a much more high functioning organization than New York. I don't think that circus stuff necessarily happens, and we'll see, but all it takes is one bad game and Rodgers to call out a young guy like Roman Wilson or something, and all of a sudden you got some bad stuff on your hands. I think it's better than if Pickens would have stayed in town and you call him out after a game and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. So, but on the field though, coming back from an Achilles, it takes a while. You saw Kirk Cousins in week 1, not really up to speed. Aaron Rodgers, it took him a while to really get up to speed. But his back half of the year, he actually was playing semi-decent football. And if you look at the stats too, I think it was 28 passing touchdowns. He had more passing touchdowns than C.J. Stroud. He had less interceptions than C.J. Stroud. He had more yards than C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud is an up-and-coming, gifted, talented quarterback. Now, you could argue that lacks all meaningful context whatsoever, and it does, admittedly. The wide receiver core they were throwing to, the offensive line the Texans had, how abysmal the Stroud had a bad season, objectively, a lot of people agreed to, and all those numbers I said are barely better than Stroud's season. So there's a lot that goes into it, but another year removed from the Achilles, I think he's got good football left. It's not great football, maybe, but it can be good football. It can be better quarterback play than the Steelers have had the past couple of years, and probably the best quarterback play they will have had since, Ben's first year back from his elbow injury back in like 2020 or something. Before he turned into a statue that couldn't throw the ball, 5 yards. So we'll see. All in all, I don't got too much to say else. I think Rodgers is an enigma, and the ceiling is the Brady Bucks, and the floor is the Phillip Rivers Colts. So comment down below your thoughts. I think. Like I said, this was the best course of action at this point in time for this season. It may not have been the best course of action for future seasons, but we will see. Comment down below your thoughts on Rodgers to the Steelers. Like the video if you want to have more content coming your way, or if you like the content coming your way from Party Chat Sports. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content coming your way. We're always appreciative, and we always love to see the feedback and comments and things too. So without further ado, it's almost summertime where no sports are going to be on, and I don't know. I think Rodgers and the team takes the field this week, so we'll get some clips and see how they're looking. So until then, we'll talk to you next time. Peace.